years ago, a young man called Jesus of Nazareth walked around the land of Israel with a small band of followers, teaching the people about the kingdom of God and performing miracles of healing, which amazed everyone. His fame spread rapidly, and soon there were rumors circulating that he was the Messiah, or Savior, for whom the country had been awaiting since the days of the prophets. Jesus wasn't popular with everyone. He criticized the ruling classes, the scribes, the Pharisees, the priests, and the elders of the land for hypocrisy. They felt threatened by Jesus and they hated him. Our story begins when Jesus had been teaching for 3 years and the time of Jewish Passover feast was approaching. He had decided to spend Passover in Jerusalem, much to the dismay of his disciples, since they knew he would be more vulnerable there. Now, Jesus is entering Jerusalem to the famous Golden Gate, accompanied by his disciples and his
Welcome, Jesus! Jesus! Son of David! Hosanna! Welcome, Jesus!
That man has got to be stopped. We're losing the respect of the people. There will be a riot soon and we'll have the Romans in our backs as well. Do you know what he did today?
What did he do, Caiaphas?
He stormed into the temple courtyard, turned over the tables of the money changers, and called the temple of God a den of thieves. And he started preaching even though he's not one of us.
No, he did. What did he say to them?
I asked him by whose authority he had done all that, but he wouldn't say. He just questioned me about that other troublemaker, John the Baptist, trying to trick me. When I wouldn't answer, neither would he.
He wouldn't answer the high priest? What insolence!
We could arrest him. He had said some terrible things about us, and he encouraged the mob to break the law. He even walks about and does strange tricks on the Sabbath.
Yes, and I heard him threatening to destroy our sacred temple and then rebuild it in just 3 days. What sacrilegious rubbish. He definitely should be locked up.
Locking up is no good. No, we need to convict them of blasphemy against God so then we can get them executed. That's the only way to stop this nonsense.
But how do we arrest him? His followers will resist. If only we knew where he went to off at night, then we could catch him on his own.
I think I may be able to help.
Judas Iscariot, one of his close bands of renegades. How can he possibly help us?
I know where he goes at night and I can lead you to him.
Why would you do that? Are you the only peasant who doesn't believe in him?
What has belief got to do with it? This is a financial affair, forget my meaning.
Oh yes, I understand you perfectly. How much do you want?
30 silver pieces, I think he's worth that much to you.
Caiaphas gets into huddle with the other priests and produces a bag of money.
Here you are, 30 silver pieces. Come to the temple when an opportune moment arrives, but don't back on this deal or else there won't be any hiding place for you in Israel.
Judas nods and disappears. Following Jesus and others, goes past uneventfully, and eventually Judas gets his chance. Jesus and his 12 disciples need a quiet celebrate the first day of Passover. And Jesus tells them of a place which is willing to house them. Judas slips away to notify Caiaphas. Jesus knows that Judas will betray him, but does nothing to stop him leaving on his own before the rest of them. Jesus and the remaining 11 disciples planned to go to the Garden of Gethsemane on the Mount of Olives, a quiet and lonely place outside the city of Jerusalem. Our story continues there. Jesus goes to a quiet place with some of his disciples and prayed about the terrible day to come. He believes that they will kill him. Judas, accompanied by the soldiers, comes to find him and Jesus is arrested. Following the Passover meal, Jesus and his disciples walk out of the city to the Mount of Olives in the Garden of Gethsemane, which is where we join them. Jesus knows what is going to happen to him and is worried and afraid.
What's the matter, Jesus? You look sad. That's not like you.
Ah, my friend, this will be a very hard night for me and for all of you. I will be betrayed into the hands of the priest, and you will all desert me.
Not me, Lord. I will never desert you. I will stand by your side.
Oh, Peter, so impetuous. But I tell you this very night, before the cock crows in the morning, you'll deny 3 times that you know me.
No, not possible. I will never disown you.
Neither will I. Not me. I'll stay with you. We won't leave you, Jesus.
I've got a sword here. They'll never take you while I'm still alive.
I've got one too. Jesus, do you think 2 swords is enough?
Yes, I am sure that's all we will need, but I need you to pray earnestly so that you won't lose courage and fall victim to temptation. Wait here, watch and pray, while I go there for myself for a while.
Jesus moves off to the side and kneels down.
What do you mean about being betrayed? Nobody knows we're here.
But anyway, they tried to get hold of them several times before and never succeed. I've never seen him worried and unhappy.
Watch and pray, he said, but I'm so tired. It's been a long day. I think I'll just rest for a while first.
Good idea. I don't know what to pray for anyway.
They lay down and immediately falls asleep.
Oh, my Father, is there any way out of this terrible ordeal? I am afraid of what is going to happen. But this is why I was sent, so not my will, but yours be done.
Jesus comes back to his disciples and finds them all asleep.
Wake up. Is it too much to ask you to pray for a few minutes?
The disciple sits up sheepishly, and Jesus goes off again to kneel where he was before. The disciple starts on their knees, but shortly afterwards, one by one falls asleep again.
Father, give me the strength to endure the suffering that is coming, if it is really according to your will, that I should go through with it.
Once again, he comes back and finds them all sleeping.
Thomas, Andrew, Peter, why are you not praying? Don't you know what is happening? The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. Go pray for strength to endure what is coming.
Jesus goes off for the 3rd time and prays again.
Why is he so upset? It's quiet and lonely up here. Who's gonna disturb us?
He often talks in riddles and I don't always understand. Maybe something is going to happen tomorrow.
Well, he told us to pray, so let's do that.
They all kneel and started praying.
Father, I now understand and fully accept that this is all according to your will. They are calling for me now, and I will go with them.
Jesus goes back to the disciples, again finds them sleeping.
Wake up. This is no time for sleeping. My betrayer is close at hand.
They scramble to their feet as Judas, some soldiers, and temple guards approach.
The one I greet with a kiss is Jesus. Seize him. Greetings, Master.
Is this how you betray me, my friend? With a kiss?
Judas falls back while the soldiers grab Jesus. Peter tugs out his sword and rushes towards one of the temple guards. The guard draws his own sword, and Jesus holds up his hand to stop them.
Peter, put your sword away.
Why, Lord? I will fight by your side or die trying.
This is no time for fighting. Are you trying to stop me from following my Father's will?
Peter falls back, confused and upset. The soldiers bind Jesus' hand and lead him away.
What's going on? Why is he going with them? If that's what he wants, we can't help him. Let's get out of here.
Peter puts his sword back, and they run to a safe distance and watch as Jesus is hustled away.
Where are they taking him? Let's see what happens.
Several disciples also follow at a safe distance. The soldiers are taking Jesus to the house of Caiaphas, the high priest, where he will be tried for blasphemy. Judas is with a group of soldiers, keeping well away from Jesus. Peter and a couple of other disciples follow at a safe distance. Let us follow them and watch what happens there. In a sham trial, Jesus is condemned for blasphemy.
I cannot see.
Judas repents and tries to give the money back. Here we are at the house of Caiaphas, the high priest, the most important religious leader in Israel. The house is very big and grand, as befits Caiaphas' status, and the household includes many servants, both inside and in the courtyard surrounding it. At last, Caiaphas has Jesus where he wants him, captured, bound, and on his own. Accompanied by the scribes and the elders, he can now interrogate Jesus and prove that he is a blasphemer. To that end, Caiaphas has engaged the services of several people who had been paid to give evidence against Jesus. Peter has followed Jesus at a distance and is now waiting anxiously to see what will happen. Judas is also there, hovering in the background. As Jesus' trial before Caiaphas begins, Judas is beginning to realize just what he has done.
You are accused of blasphemy against God. How do you plead?
Jesus says nothing and ignores him.
What? Nothing to say now, eh? You had plenty to say when you had the rabble around you, eating out of your hand. Never mind. We have witnesses to your words and actions, and they'll speak for you. Girl, go get me the first witnesses.
The maidservant goes to the outer area to fetch the witnesses, but pauses when she sees Peter by the fire.
Hey, don't I recognize you? You go around with that Jesus from Galilee, don't you?
Who is he? I don't know what you're talking about.
Slightly puzzled, the maidservant fetches the first two witnesses and leads them back to Caiaphas. Well, while they were being silently sworn in, the maid comes back out and speaks to Peter again.
I've seen you with him. When you came to the city last week, when all the crowds came for him, you were there as well.
You're wrong, I tell you again. Why can't you just believe me and leave me alone?
Tell us what this man said and did. Have you seen him breaking any of our laws?
Yes, sir. He walks about on the Sabbath and claims that we shouldn't pay taxes to the emperor.
Well, he didn't exactly say that. It was the temple tax they wanted to pay. And where were you if you saw him walking on the Sabbath?
Get rid of these fools. They aren't helping. Haven't we got anyone better?
Yes, sir. We have several more waiting outside. I'll bring them in one at a time.
The staff member comes out into the courtyard and brings someone else in. Meanwhile, the maidservant quietly leaves and looks for Peter again. During her further interaction with him, there is a silent activity as the 2 or 3 witnesses come before Caiaphas, mime, talking and gesticulating, and leave again.
There you are. I've been looking for you. I know you are one of his followers. You even speak like a Galilean. Why not admit it?
I sound it to you, I don't know that man. Why can't you just believe me and go away?
arose from the inside of the house, Jesus turns and looks at Peter. Peter looks frozen with horror as he realizes what he has done and rushes away from the house. The maidservant goes back inside.
Go and get the last two witnesses.
The witnesses are brought in by the staff member.
What did this fellow say about our sacred temple?
He said that he was going to knock it down and then rebuild it in just 3 days.
No, he said someone had to knock it down and that he would rebuild it without his hands.
Anyway, he wanted it knocked down, which is a terrible prayer.
Waving the witnesses away and addressing Jesus.
Do you still have nothing to say in your defense? Can't you hear the charges they bring against you?
Losing his temper when Jesus still won't answer.
Say something! I put you under oath to the living God to tell us if you're the Messiah, the Son of God.
Yes, I am. And you will see the Son of Man seated at God's right hand, coming from the clouds of heaven.
Blasphemy! You have all heard it for yourselves. What do you think? He deserves death.
Caiaphas and the priests draw away to one side. The servants and the soldiers start to manhandle Jesus, blindfolding him, smacking him, and jeering. He says nothing and just takes it all calmly. Judas sees that Jesus is condemned and appalled. He starts walking towards Caiaphas.
Look out! Here comes that Judas fellow.
Go away. You have done your job and been paid.
I have done a terrible thing in betraying an innocent man. Please take back your money and let me go free.
Get out of here before I get you arrested as well.
Judas gets up, throws the bag of money at Caiaphas' feet, and stumbles out. Caiaphas picks up the money, shakes the bag and feels the weight, and puts it in his pocket. Caiaphas has got what he wants, but Israel is an occupied land and he has no power to put people to death. He now has to persuade the Roman governor Pontius Pilate to agree that Jesus should die. Caiaphas and his retinue take Jesus down to Pilate's court, and it's now Pilate's turn to question him. The priests take Jesus to the Roman governor to confirm the death sentence. The governor wants to free him, but is afraid of the consequences to himself. Pilate washes his hands to show he is not responsible for his death. Jesus is sentenced, flogged, and given his cross to carry. Caiaphas, with the other group of priests, has brought Jesus to the court of the Roman governor Pontius Pilate, but Caiaphas does not enter the building.
Ritually unclean and unable to eat the Passover. Go and ask the governor to come out to us.
Pilate enters, followed by the aide Quintilinus, and crowd falls silent.
Why have you brought this man? What has he done?
This is Jesus the Nazarene, who has been perverting the nation by telling people not to pay taxes to the emperor. He also goes by as a king.
Jesus of Nazareth? I have heard of this man. Take him yourselves and judge him according to your law.
We have done so, but we're not permitted to put anyone to death.
Bring him up here so I can question you.
Jesus is taken up to the courthouse. A servant comes out of the courtyard and walks to Quintilinus.
Sir, I have a message from the governor from his wife.
Urgent message for you, sir. It's from your wife.
My wife? She knows not to interrupt me when I'm in the court. What she says?
She warns you not to have anything to do with this man, Jesus, whom she describes as an innocent man.
Yes, Tell her I understand, and I'll be cautious.
Yes, sir. Take this back to the governor's wife.
Are you the king of the Jews?
Jesus is silent.
What about all these charges they bring against you?
Jesus remains silent.
What's the matter with you? Why you don't answer me? Are you a king?
Are you asking this question to me because of what? Because you want to know? Or just because of what the Jewish people are saying?
Am I a Jew? It is your own people who brought you here. What have you done?
Yes, I am a king, but my kingdom is not of this world. If it was, my followers would be fighting to prevent me from falling into the hands of the Jewish people.
So, you are a king then?
It is you who's keep calling me a king. But I was born and came into this world to bear witness to the truth. And whoever listens to the truth, believes to the truth, listens to my voice.
What is truth? Whatever this man is, he's done nothing wrong as far as I can see. I'd like to release him.
These priests are jealous of him, but I heard the common people love him, so why not appeal to them directly? As it is Passover time, we could offer to release either Jesus or that bandit who led an insurrection and was found guilty of murder. Barabbas, his name was. Thoroughly nasty piece of work. The people won't choose him.
I find no case against this man. But you have a custom to release one prisoner at the Passover. Shall I release the king of the Jews, Jesus of Nazareth, or Barabbas, the convicted murderer? What shall I do then with Jesus, who is called the Messiah? Why? What evil has he done? I find in him no grounds for sentence of death. I shall have him black and then release him.
Anyone who says himself as a king is no friend of Caesar.
Enough! Get the girl and pitch me a bowl of water.
Babe. Bowl of water and a towel for the governor, quickly.
Out here, sir?
Of course out here. Don't argue. Just do it.
I have no choice. I cannot save this man from this priest.
But why? These priests have no real power.
You have heard their threat. I can risk the emperor finding out that the little would-be king go free. It would be mean recall to Rome, and then
Maidservant comes back with a bowl and towel and kneels down before it for Pilate, washing his hands as he speaks to the crowd.
I am innocent of the blood of this just man. See it for yourselves.
Maidservant departs with the bowl and towel. Pilate talking to his soldiers.
Take him away and flog him.
The soldiers seize Jesus roughly and take him out of sight.
Sir, what inscription do you want to put on the cross? We usually put the name of the crime,
But he has no crime. He has no threat to the emperor, only to the power of the priest. The Jewish priest, because he claimed to be their Messiah or king. I know. Right, Jesus the Nazareth, King of the Jews.
The priests aren't going to like this, sir. They probably want to change it to say he said he was the Son of Man. He was the King of the Jews. Or something similar. But what do you say to them?
I shall say what I have written. I have written. Make sure it is inscribed in the Hebrew, Latin, and Greek, so that everyone can understand it, especially those priests.
Yes, sir.
Pilate and Quintilinus leave the court. In the barracks, the soldiers flog Jesus and then mock him.
Dumugo pa yung ilong yung anihin, Christian. Nandun kami sa washer.
They dress him in a purple robe and press a crown of thorns on his head. The soldiers bow to him and say, "Hail, King of the Jews!"
Hail, King of the Jews!
He is blindfolded and struck repeatedly. With the calls of "Prophesy to us, O Christ, who is it to strike you?" Throughout this ordeal, Jesus says nothing.
Who is it?
Finally, he is brought back and shown to the people. The crowd started to shout, "Crucify him!" The soldiers put the cross onto his shoulder, none too gently. Jesus is weak, exhausted from loss of blood, and seems likely to fall at any moment. But he has to carry his own cross to the place of execution. Let us follow him as he begins his last journey. Jesus stumbles towards the corner of the station, where he falls. The soldiers hitting him with a butt of spears. Jesus struggles to his feet. Simon reluctantly picks up the cross and carries it. Jesus follows, stumbling from time to time. On the way up, they pass a group of women and kids crying and wailing. One of them comes forward and wipes his face with a cloth, and Jesus looks at them.
Daughters of Jerusalem, weep not for me, but for yourselves and for your children.
The journey continues to the place of execution. Jesus has walked to the place of execution, where he is nailed to the cross and dies. The Roman centurion realizes that he is the Son of God. Jesus is now at a place called Golgotha, which means the place of the skull. It was traditional for the soldiers to take and keep the clothing of the prisoners before crucifying them. So Jesus will be stripped and his garment shared out. The centurion with a couple more soldiers is standing nearby supervising. There is also a group of priests separately. John the disciple, Mary, Jesus' mother, and several other women followers are standing. The centurion doesn't do anything but watches all the exchanges up to Jesus' death very carefully and slightly anxiously. The soldiers pulls off the robe and takes the crown off. Jesus is pushed and tugged into the position of the cross, which is laid out on the ground.
Arthur!
The soldiers carefully bends 3 nails into the pre-drilled holes near either hand and feet, while the other soldier lashes Jesus' hands and feet to the cross. They raised the cross, and the other soldiers dropped back, leaving the original too. When the soldiers move back, the priest and the bystanders move forward.
We built the temple in 3 days, don't make me laugh.
He was deluded. We thought he was the Son of God. If
The priests leave, talking and laughing among themselves.
Oh, Messiah, Son of God, King, whatever you are, get me out of here if you are so clever.
Don't you fear God? You deserve this, but this man is innocent.
Jesus, remember me when you come to your kingdom.
Truly, today, I tell you, you will be with me in the paradise.
Jesus, looking down at his mother and John, who have come closer.
Mother, here is your son. Son, here is your mother.
Mary is weeping, and John puts his arm around her shoulders.
Eloi, Eloi, lama sabachthani. My God, why have you forsaken me?
What did he say? Not sure. I think he's calling upon Elijah, the prophet, who is sent into heaven in a fiery chariot.
Maybe Elijah will come and save him. There is a water over there and some reeds. Get something to moisten his mouth so that we can hear what he's saying. Where's my name?
Loudly and triumphantly looking up to heaven.
It is finished. Father, into your hands, I commend my spirit.
Drops head and dies. Sounds of thunder and an earthquake. Everyone staggers as if the earth is shaking. The centurion falls on her knees in front of the cross.
Surely this man was the Son of God.
The day that Jesus Christ lay in the tomb after his death. It is the day after Good Friday and the day before Easter, a day of both sadness and joy among Christians in many cultures.